Imagine standing in an open field. The sky is clear. Then a shadow falls over you. Wide, slow, absolute. You look up, and you see something that makes every instinct in your body scream. A wingspan of 12 meters. A head the size of a car. A neck like a crane. And eyes, cold, reptilian, ancient, looking down at you from above. This is not mythology. This is not fiction. This existed. 70 million years ago, a creature called Quetzalcoatlus northropi ruled the skies of what is now North America. Named after the Aztec god of wind, the feathered serpent, it was the largest flying animal that has ever lived on this planet. And when it landed and stood on all four limbs, it looked you in the eye from 5.5 meters above the ground. The size of a giraffe, the wingspan of a small aircraft, the weight of a grand piano. We think we understand nature. We think we know its limits. Quetzalcoatlus is proof that we are wrong. It was a living violation of what biology is supposed to allow. And for 150 million years, its kind owned the sky, before something from space ended everything. This is its story. The bones were found in 1971 in Big Bend National Park, Texas. A geology student named Douglas Lawson was hiking through eroded badlands when he spotted fragments of something enormous half buried in the rock. He assumed it was a large dinosaur limb. He was wrong. When the fossils reached the lab, scientists went quiet. The bones were hollow. Not just slightly hollow, but hollow like pipes. Some walls were no thicker than 2 millimeters, thinner than cardboard. Yet they had survived intact for 70 million years, locked in stone. This was no dinosaur. This was a wing. A wing that belonged to a flying creature of impossible scale. The hollow bone structure was Quetzalcoatlus's dark engineering secret. Nature had solved a problem that aerospace engineers still obsess over: the strength-to-weight ratio. Every gram of unnecessary mass is a gram that makes flight harder. So evolution hollowed out the skeleton until almost nothing remained. Just thin, rigid tubes of bone, light as balsa wood, strong as structural steel. But there was a problem no amount of engineering could fully solve: physics. As a body grows larger, its mass increases faster than its wing area. At some point, the wings simply cannot generate enough lift. Scientists looked at Quetzalcoatlus and whispered the same terrifying question: was it already too big to fly? For decades, the debate stayed dark and unresolved. Some researchers argued Quetzalcoatlus was a ground-bound giant, a scavenger that could only glide downhill, forever trapped by its own size. The idea of something that large actually achieving powered flight seemed physically absurd. Then the computer models came, and they changed everything. Biomechanics teams ran full aerodynamic simulations, wing geometry, muscle mass, thermal updraft patterns over the late Cretaceous lowlands. The results were unsettling in the best possible way. Under the right atmospheric conditions, Quetzalcoatlus wasn't just gliding. It was flying. Actively, deliberately, over distances of thousands of kilometers, riding columns of warm, rising air like a biological sailplane, barely spending energy, crossing continents the way an albatross crosses oceans. But the takeoff remained a nightmare to explain. Birds run or drop from height. Quetzalcoatlus could do neither. Its hind limbs were too weak for a running launch, its body too massive to simply leap. Scientists were stuck until someone looked at bats. A bat doesn't run, it explodes. All four limbs fire simultaneously in a single violent thrust, launching the body into the air before the wings even fully open. Researchers applied this model to Quetzalcoatlus, and the math worked. And the math worked. A 250-kilogram animal, using its enormous forelimbs as a biological catapult, could clear the ground in a fraction of a second. Violent, sudden, and absolutely terrifying to witness. On the ground, Quetzalcoatlus was something else entirely. Forget the image of pterosaurs perched on cliffsides, wings folded like umbrellas. That image is wrong. Quetzalcoatlus walked. It spent significant time on all four limbs, and its forelimbs were longer than its hind limbs, giving it a gait unlike anything alive today. High at the shoulder, low at the hip, long neck stretched forward, massive skull extended ahead of the body like a battering ram. Picture a giraffe that decided to walk on its knuckles. Now give it a 3-meter beak. Now take away every shred of warmth from its eyes. That skull, up to 3 meters long, nearly a third of the animal's total body length, was crowned with a tall, bony crest, whose purpose scientists still argue over. Sexual display, flight steering, heat regulation. Probably all three simultaneously. Evolution rarely builds something for just one reason. And what was it eating? Early theories painted it as a coastal fisher, a giant pelican diving for prehistoric sharks. The anatomy disagreed. The jaw was not built for fish. The neck was not built for diving. The legs were built for walking terrain. The current picture is darker. Quetzalcoatlus likely stalked floodplains and river deltas on foot, scanning the ground with those cold eyes, snatching small animals, lizards, early mammals, hatchlings, carrion. It was a marabou stork scaled to the size of an aircraft. Silent, patient, inevitable. The world Quetzalcoatlus inhabited no longer exists. 70 million years ago, a shallow inland sea split North America down its center. Warm, teeming, prehistoric. Along its shores and over its plains, thermal columns rose constantly in the Cretaceous heat. Perfect highways of air for a creature that weighed as much as a horse and needed the atmosphere itself to stay alive. Then, 66 million years ago, something arrived from deep space. An asteroid 10 kilometers wide entered the atmosphere at 70,000 kilometers per hour. The impact released energy 2 billion times greater than the largest nuclear weapon ever detonated. The sky caught fire. The sun disappeared for years behind a veil of dust and ash. 3/4 of all species on Earth vanished, including every last Quetzalcoatlus. The sky went silent. And here is the part that should unsettle you most. In the 66 million years since, no flying animal has come close to matching it. Birds evolved, they grew, they reached wingspans of 6, maybe 7 meters, and stopped. Evolution has tried repeatedly and failed repeatedly to rebuild what Quetzalcoatlus was. It was not just a large animal. It was the absolute ceiling of what biology can achieve in the air. A living proof that nature once built something that defied every rule and made it work. A flying giraffe. A walking aircraft. A creature that had no right to exist, and yet cast its 12-meter shadow across an entire continent for millions of years. The sky has never been the same since. And somehow, that feels like a loss.